There were old abandoned pieces of a shed and car long left unused. I used to ask him all the time who those people were that left all this junk, and I'm sure he got so tired of hearing it that he made up some elaborate stories how a brown bear ate them and haunted the woods afterwards. What's funny is I think it made those people seem more real. Growing up thinking they were still hanging out like they couldn't say goodbye. I used to tell my friends how I could swear I saw spirits move near the water, and that always freaked them out. I guess it didn't bother me, because the way I saw it, they were normal people with old cars and sheds, just trying to figure out how to survive and be happy in the middle of nowhere. It was a cool thought that they didn't want to leave, but I was a weird kid.
Well, you had good company since those ghosts like living in a place where they were brutally devoured.
Even at my most distant, at the times when I detested him the most, he kept reaching out. For a year straight, he asked me every week when we were going camping. I thought he was just dense. Eventually, to shut him up, I agreed. We carried out the worn lawn chairs from the garage and set up a cinder block campfire at the site we had always used behind the house. We walked down the mountain path, talking in the warm sunshine we only got a couple months of the year. Those 3 obsidian rocks shimmered alongside the shore, almost like sparklers pressed against a dark window. I'll never forget that wet stone on my feet, or how those massive mountains looked even bigger in the lake's reflection. I felt small, but grateful. As the sun set, my dad found something I hadn't seen for a long time. The tree where I'd made my first carving when I was 6. I hadn't even carved it. My dad had helped me, but I still called it my tree. Something about seeing my name there made me open up, and we talked about everything that night in that old camouflage tent. I told him how much I loved sketching and design, and how it would be a dream to study architecture in Seattle. I told him how I didn't get along with my friends much anymore, but that I didn't mind being alone. He told me he was there for me, and he joked that if all he had to do was write my name on a tree to finally get me to talk, he would have left me carved logs with novels on them in front of my room every morning. I don't know why it took me that long to realize it, but it was then I knew how much he had sacrificed for me. My dad built a lot of stuff in his free time. If he wasn't watching fly fishing or reading Tom Clancy novels, he was carving something. He made tons of birdhouses. Not that he was into bird watching, but I think he really missed working and adding on to the home. If he couldn't afford the time to build onto our own house, he would have to settle with watching birds move into their little homes. We kept an old mattress in the bed of that ugly yellow truck, so we would drive it deep into the woods and then watch the birds fly into their houses while the sun set. Usually it was accompanied by venison jerky or a cold Coke, but not a lot of talking, which is how we both liked it.
Was ist hier noch? Was ist da hinten? Sehen wir was leuchten? Sehe ich jetzt nichts mehr leuchten. Ah, ein Keyboard. Ja, wo wir noch mal hingehen. Da. Jetzt erzählt er mir selber. Dass wir sowieso nicht alle verstehen haben, oder das klingt besser, dass wir schon. Oh, 70. 70 Sterne erreicht. Ja.
We were happiest underneath the evergreens. We decided it was time to finally map out the hundreds of acres we lived on just to pass the time during the summer. He was only free in the evenings, so I would spend the day wasting time on dial-up internet and sketching, and then we would rush into the woods, pen and map in hand, before evening fell. Sometimes the aurora borealis would cast
Wofür 3 Stück und dann noch nur 2 Stück. Das ist eine gute Idee, ist, wenn das gleich so gleich.
The perpetrator stood nearby, unfazed, like nothing was wrong. My dad is dead, and he's never coming back, Rachel. I can tell you these stories, but I can never reminisce with him again. He can never hold a grandchild that we'll probably never be able to have. I can never talk to him again, and I'll never be able to say I'm sorry for everything.
Ist der da runtergesprungen? Ist der denn Musik gefällt oder was? Die sind schon auch so zu gefällt. Hui. Oh, ich hab's verfehlt. Nein, ich hab verfehlt. Nein, nein. Doof zum Springen. Egal. Düster. Und die Musik ist. Ich hatte gerade eben gedacht, ist leiser. Ich muss das auf mein Ohr gemacht, weil ich den angenehmer und entspannter ist. Volle Lautstärke. Aber okay. Klar. Klar. Was ist denn? Mein größter anderes lernen. Also gucken wir gleich mal. Was ist erkennen? Schalten.
I need to go to bed. I just can't talk about this anymore. Good night.
Okay. Jetzt ist es weggegangen. Da kann man fühlen. Und das muss aber auch auf dem Berg war ja eigentlich auch was, ne? Das scheint das auch irgendwie aufzukommen. So, ein bisschen Lust. Wir gucken da mal nach. Was da am Bild ist. haben noch 1 Minute Zeit, bevor die Folge zu Ende ist, bevor wir ein kurz ein kleines Päuschen einrichten. Und dann weiterfahren. Ach so. Wow, guck dir das an. Ja, guck dir das an.
Joseph, you can't go to sleep feeling like this. I'm sorry for everything, and I know you need space, but I'm here for you. You don't need to feel so lost.
Können wir jetzt irgendwie speichern? Müssen. Ja, gut, damit beenden wir hier die Folge. Wir sehen uns denn in der nächsten. Tschüss und ciao, ciao.